Beautiful, 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 beautiful. Fantastic. Gosh, that guitar sounds amazing. Tell us a little bit about that guitar.
Sure. Well, first of all, it's a pleasure to be here with you.
It's good to have you back.
And I think I said that last time, but we would be enjoying ourselves talking about guitar, even if there was no camera.
That's
right?
true.
So but it's always nice to be back and now bringing a little bit of my, my music, a little bit talk a little bit about my career as a solo guitarist and the things I'm doing. So I appreciate you having me today.
Yes.
Well, this guitar, I absolutely love this instrument. It is a handmade classical guitar made by a Brazilian guitar maker named Joacir Carvalho. Hard to pronounce. But it's an amazing instrument, with Indian rosewood and spruce top, and it's a very well crafted instrument, and I love it. I love the sound of it. I love how it plays, and that's why I'm using this little mic, because instead of a pickup, I want to get the sound of the natural sound of the instrument. So
tell us about that. Tell us about that mic. What is
this? Is a DPA microphone. I believe it's a Danish company. They use a lot of those microphones for classical instruments, violins, guitars. And it has this very interesting, it's very accurate the way it picks up the sound. Even like nail sound. Sometimes you have to be careful because it picks up everything.
Yeah.
So, and I'm placing around here. Some people put it. You can, because there is this part here where you can attach the guitar. Some people put it down here. So here you get more like a lower. You get more the lower frequencies here. I feel it's a little more balanced to get the full range of the guitar.
Now, does that also have a sound hole right there? How
Yes.
cool is that?
Yeah, so this maker, maybe people might want to see that, right? So I don't know if...
There's a sound hole, it's got a little bit of a cover on it, but there's a sound hole right there as well.
Yeah, when you're playing big halls, I feel it helps a little bit because you can hear yourself.
Yes.
A little bit more, and it doesn't, it doesn't affect the sound projecting to the audience.
Yes.
So there are a few guitar makers now that are using that and doing that. So
beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us about what you're getting ready to embark upon. You're overseas.
Yeah, well, this little journey is a short tour, but it starts today. Starts here. That's the first performance. This program. And then I have a couple more performances here. I'm playing at Austin P University.
Yep.
With my friend has the department there, Stanley Yates, playing there on Friday. And then I have a little performance for my students here on Tuesday. And then the following week, I go to the UK. To the UK, have a quick stop in London for a business meeting there, and then from there I head to Wales, Cardiff, Wales, at the Royal Conservatory there. Play a concert, teach a class for the students there, so that's exciting. And then from there, the next day I catch a flight to Ireland, to Northern Ireland in Belfast.
Wow.
I play at the at Queen's University in Belfast. And after that, I'll head back home, and that's during spring break here at Belmont. So it
Good.
worked out well.
Good.
I won't miss a lot of school because it's pretty busy here at Belmont. So I'm going to use that week to do that and then come back and to work at Belmont and have a few gigs in town too when I get back.
Fantastic. What else are you going to play for us?
So this first piece that I played was my arrangement of Black Orpheus by the great Brazilian composer Luis Bonfá.
Yeah.
This song is well known in Brazil with a different title. Manha de Carnaval, which means morning of carnival. But it became well known here in the States also because of the movie.
Yeah, there's a movie with it.
And became well known as Black Orpheus. But so that was the first one, a little bit of my Brazilian roots there.
Because you were from Sao Paulo.
I'm from São Paulo, born and raised,
Wow.
I moved to the US 13 years ago. So been here for a little bit now.
Good.
Not enough to lose the accent, though. The accent's still there. That I don't think I'm going to lose. But my program, I have, some Brazilian music, some jazz, some crossover between jazz and classical guitar. I just love that combination. I love arranging. I love improvisation and classical music in general. So the next one I'm going to play, I'm going to challenge myself a little bit here.
There you
I'm
go.
still warming up, but I'm going to play a piece by the Brazilian composer. His name is Garoto, a very, very important Brazilian composer, pre-bossa nova. And he, in my opinion, he was one of the guys that one of the first composers to start give a hint of the bossa nova, would be even before Jobim. He was the guitarist for Carmen Miranda. Maybe the people at home might know of Carmen Miranda, the Brazilian singer who had the fruit basket in her head. And so he played with her. So I'm gonna play Lamentos do Morro. It's a samba by Garoto.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
What a delightful little piece.
Thank you.
Oh,
It's Garoto is one of my favorite guitar composers in Brazil. He died very young. I think he was maybe 45. But his music is just great. He was a Choro player. He also played mandolin.
Yeah.
His harmonies are so interesting.
Yeah.
Rhythm, and he has other pieces that are harmonically very intricate, and that's for the first half of the 20th century. So it's like way before the 60s, you know.
So many layers to what was going on there. That would be
Si,
deceptively
si.
hard to play.
Yes, I mean there is a constant pedal that goes on that's completely independent from the rest, right? So you have this. So first of all, you need to practice this to make sure this is consistent. For those at home who you know like playing fingerstyle, you know, like being able to separate voices. And then, because then you have this, and then both. Yeah. And
Beautiful.
yeah, and then on the B section you have a melody.
Yeah.
Here's the one thing that's interesting too. The melodies are generally on the top voice, right?
Right.
Or maybe the bass, but here the melody's in the middle of the chord. So you have to, I'm using my index, so you have to put more pressure on that finger to get that melody out.
Yeah.
Because you don't want the chord to bury the melody, right?
Very tricky.
Yeah.
Very
it's a
tricky.
little bit-
Ron is asking, what are some common warm-up exercises that you recommend for a classical guitar player?
I always try to return to the basics, and this might not sound very exciting, but I really think that playing slowly, like basic arpeggios, like in the morning, I still do that to this day.
Yeah,
Maybe spend 5 minutes, you know, playing some. You have like the basic combinations of arpeggios on the right hand,
You do an example of it
like
for
a
us.
P-I-M-A,
Right.
for example. You have all the permutations, right? You can do P-I-M-A, P-I-A-M,
Right.
but then you choose one and you play it really slow. And focus on maybe relaxing your body, not tensing up. Like a piece like the one I just played. If you're tense, it's impossible to play it.
Yeah.
Because you need to be relaxed. So focus on like relaxing your body, your arms. I like that a lot. I play scales, a little bit of scales. I'm also do a lot of improvisation. So what I do nowadays, the same skills that I practice for improvisations, I use as my technique for classical, because there is only so much time in the day to practice everything. So I have my improvisation, even like pentatonics, things like that. But doing it really slow, focusing on the tone. Keeping the left hand close to the fretboard, things like that. Also, another like a great warm up. Play your pieces extremely slow.
Yes.
In the morning, like just try to really get everything relaxed. And even a piece like that this morning, I did it this morning. Just woke up, grabbed the guitar, I had some coffee, and then I just to try to. Because a lot of times people see the performance and see like people playing really fast and all this flashy stuff, but sometimes they're not aware of what's behind it. I didn't wake up this morning and play this piece at that speed.
Right.
I started really slow, warmed up, and then sometimes to see how well I know a piece, I might wake up in the morning and play just to see what happens. Yeah. But you want to be careful. You want to avoid injuries and things like that. So.
I know that the great fingerstyle guitarist Joe Robinson talks about, he said you need to find the parameters of the piece once you have it all down. So I play it slowly as I can to keep it and still keep the groove of the piece. I play it as fast as I can and still keep the groove of the piece. I play it as soft as I can and still keep the groove of the piece. I play it as forceful as I can to keep the groove of the piece. And I thought, oh, that's smart. You just kind of find, in doing that, you kind of find the dynamics of what you can do, and it gives an effortlessness in your
that
playing.
gives you range,
Your
right?
range,
It gives you
yeah.
dynamic range. Also, if this piece, I monitor everything for the metronome, and I know that I definitely, I did it yesterday when I was practicing. I pushed it way faster than, because when I'm in front of people, and if I happen to be, slightly nervous, or if I start a little fast, which happens, right? You're in front of an audience. Sometimes you might start a little faster. You want to make sure that you have that extra headroom to be able to play and still make it groove, make it sound good without too much effort. So I think that's great advice.
Peg is saying Choro isn't well known in the U.S. Could you please discuss and demonstrate that style?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Anything Choro?
Well, I play another piece by Garoto. It's not like your typical Choro person. I mean, he was one of the, he played mandolin. He has this piece that is, Choro is urban music from Brazil from the first half of the 20th century, and it's mostly instrumental music, mostly the prominent instruments are guitar, 7-string guitar with the extra bass, because there is no bass player. So nylon string, sometimes steel string with a 7th string. You also have mandolin,
which is flute, I think.
Flute also, yes. And a lot of that music is very. You have pixinguinha, one of the. If you wanna, it's kind of hard to spell. Pixinguina. You can go back to the video and write. If you type that and the word Choro, Choro, you are gonna see. You're gonna see a lot of. He's one of the greatest. It's mostly instrumental music. A lot of it's very virtuosic, kind of improvisational in a sense. Some people make a comparison with like bebop because the nature of the melodies sometimes can be very intricate. And I can show just a little bit of this. Maybe I'll play half of this Garoto piece. Good segue. This is a Choro, but has a very modern harmony, and you can hear the bossa nova harmonies here too. And this is like from the 50s, so that's why I'm very excited about that music. Thank you. Those basses,
Oh,
those
lovely.
is a very like a signature of Choro.
Yeah.
You know those, and those are generally playing a 7-string guitar.
Greg Steiner is saying, would you recommend learning complex pieces in small parts at a time?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yes.
Absolutely.
But I would also recommend making sure that you pick a piece that pushes you,
Yeah.
that has a level of complexity that will push you, but also won't like crush you.
Yes.
You know, I think that's why a teacher is always
Mhm.
important, because a teacher will help you find that sweet spot. But definitely, there's some of those pieces when I learn them, I isolate things, I isolate parts, because certain parts they don't need as much work as other parts.
Mhm.
You don't need to work at everything even, right?
Yeah.
Like so, I like practicing from the end to the beginning.
Mhm.
I also like practicing from the middle and then expanding.
Mhm.
Like you play like 4 bars and you add a phrase before and a phrase after, and so you build the piece like that. And I'm particularly it's important to me like to practice the endings of pieces very well,
Yes.
because a lot of people they're really good at beginnings,
Yes.
and that's because that's the first thing they see on the score.
Mhm.
But the end of the piece, that you send your listeners home with the end of your piece.
Yeah, that's what they're going to go home with the taste of in their mouth.
So I think it's important, of course, to practice the whole thing, but and make sure you can isolate the spots that need the most work.
Well, I know you've got a lot of music to cover, and then you have a little bit of a loop station here going on here too.
Yes, I do, and that's a new challenge that I took on, because I mean, I play electric guitar and I've done things with loopers before, but now my idea was to blend the classical guitar with the looper, which is a big challenge because you have this mic that's very sensitive, picks up everything, and you have like, you are acoustic, but you're also amplified, and you have to work with balance and deal with feedback. And I guess the big challenge is also like the timing of things.
Yeah.
Rhythm needs to be really precise. My students are here, and they probably heard me talk about this, like the importance of rhythm and play with precision and things like that. And in the looper, it really teaches you that, because if you're not extremely precise, I'm still learning, I'm still working on it, but I love the challenge and just trying to make music by myself, but creating layers and textures and things like that. So.
Can you play us something else?
Absolutely. I'm gonna try. Let's use this looper here. So I thought I would bring something that your audience would know. So this is a standard, jazz standard. That's you have lots of versions.
And you were in drop D?
Drop D. Okay. Yeah. So I'm detuning my guitar that was already struggling to be in tune. Now I'm changing it.
What kind of strings are you using?
Those are Augustine Regals. Those are like nylon string guitar.
And then what tension?
Those is the highest tension. The highest tension they have.
Okay.
It's really important because I like to be able to get a lot of sound out of the guitar without buzzing.
Yeah.
And
I do as well.
Yeah.
And the extra hard tension just seems to work better for me.
Yeah, because the string's not gonna be hitting the fret. And my action, a mutual friend of ours, Julio.
Julio?
Yeah, he set this guitar up for me, and he's
Sounds
wonderful.
amazing.
Yeah, he's wonderful.
Yeah.
And it's not high, but it's definitely not super low. Like
yeah.
you gotta press a little bit, so which is good. It's good. Some workout, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna play "Summertime,"
Okay.
and which is people probably know that at home. So many beautiful versions of this tune.
wonderful.
Thank you, thank
I
you.
love that.
Yeah, I'm just getting the timing, you know.
It is tricky.
So
Sure.
I'm working on it, but I enjoy it. This is one of the things that for years I've been doing this in my practice for
Mhm.
fun,
Mm-hmm.
and I enjoyed it myself. I would see like hours going by.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna bring that to the stage
Yeah.
and see what happens, you know. And
Yeah.
a lot of times, when you're playing music and you're honest about it and you enjoy doing it and you work hard at it, I think that's what people want.
Yes.
So that's like my thought behind it. I enjoy doing that on my own, and I'm gonna start making that combination in classical guitar and looping. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
You've done a lot of Latin stuff. You've done a lot of Brazilian stuff and some jazz things. Are you doing any classical on this tour, mini tour that you're doing?
Yes, I am. Well, I would call it more like a crossover.
Mm-hmm.
This composer named Ralph Towner,
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
one of my big heroes in the world of classical guitar, because, I mean, he's essentially a jazz musician, but also he played with the band Oregon for many years, and wonderful. Ralph Towner, highly recommend. If you are interested in classical guitar and jazz, his music has a lot of that, has a lot of improvisation. He has some pretty tricky pieces, and one of the pieces I'm bringing to this tour is a piece called Jugglers Etude. It's called Etude, but it's a full-blown piece,
Mhm.
20 pages long. And what I played this piece for a few years, but what I did, I played the piece, but the central part of the piece, instead of playing what he wrote, I
Mhm.
have like a whole improvisation part,
Mhm.
and then I come back with the theme. So, which is interesting because his composition, the inner part of the piece, the B section, it sounds like an improvisation.
Yeah.
Although it's written, he probably improvised all that and then wrote it.
Yeah.
Which is there are a lot of pieces that they are composed, they're written, but they have an improvisatory nature.
Yeah.
There are a lot of composers that do that. When you learn the part, it sounds like an improvisation, but it's an actual written part. And the one I'm playing this tour is Jugglers Etude, and I also dropped that's the piece that, you know, like it requires a lot of classical guitar technique, and then you add the improvisation. So there's the improvisation aspect of it over the chord changes, and it's a combination of things. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna try.
Wonderful.
If I fell off this chair here, you can you can pick me up. It's it's such a great piece. There's a recording of a duo with John Abercrombie
Yeah.
he played with, and that one is a lot of improvisation, not as much like the jazz version, not
Mhm.
more like a jazz version than the classical
Yeah.
version. Thank you.
Gorgeous. The looper that you're using, I know folks are going to be wondering about that. That's the Boss
RC300.
RC300.
The Boss has a new version out. This is a little bit older, but I've been using it for a little bit at home, you know, for my practice and things. And I have 3 separate tracks. You can mix them any way you want. And you can actually have 3 separate ones, but you can record several lines on the same track, so we have plenty of options here. And I'm gonna be traveling with that one. Also, it has a phantom power, 48 volts, so that helps. So I don't have to
That's
carry.
what powers the mic.
Yeah, so
okay.
I don't have to carry a DI box.
Yep.
So yeah.
William is saying, do you play with your own nails or use acrylic?
I have my own nails. I've been very lucky. I've been blessed that my nails are very strong, and they rarely break. In 25 years playing classical guitar, I don't remember it breaking by accident, maybe a couple times.
Well,
so,
for those of us that break all the time, that's a gift.
Yeah, I've been blessed, and I work with students that have that challenge, and you know, nails are, you know, it's just something that, well, you have to be very careful, but some people just sometimes don't have strong
Now,
nails.
so what are some of the nail care things that you do, though? I mean,
well, I
buffing
polish,
them,
polish them, I file them. I never, that's pretty much it. And I just try to, the days that I have concerts, I'm really careful with cars, doors, refrigerators, carrying amps. I'm very careful with those things, especially on the day of a concert or a day leading up to a gig. I try to be very careful. And also when I practice, if I'm practicing a lot, I just have to be mindful because it can wear out the nail a little bit, depending on the piece. Like this piece that has the, so I try to focus my practice, because if I do that all day, that's gonna wear out the nail a little.
One of your favorite composers?
Ooh, good question.
Good question.
I guess that's one of those questions that I can answer that question today, and tomorrow might change. But again, I love all types of music. Also, a lot of non-guitar music too. So everything from jazz, guitarists like Pat Metheny, Wes Montgomery, guys more on the fusion side. I like Mike Stern and Greg Howe and Guthrie Govan. But I also love the classical composers. You know, Stravinsky. I'm a huge Stravinsky fan. Igor Stravinsky for me is one of the greatest composers of all time. But I also love so much. I love pop music, rock. I listen to Rush a lot, Dream Theater. Going to all the Brazilian composers, Jobim. See, it's if you look at my playlist and my Spotify, it's just so random, because you hear a pop song and then Petrushka by Stravinsky. Like you're gonna have all this, and I love that. Of course, all the guitar music too. I love steel string, fingerstyle. I mean, there's such a wide range.
Yeah.
It's difficult, but right now I'm listening to a lot of Pat Martini. I work with rock ensemble at Belmont, so I've been listening to some music as I was picking repertoire for them, some fusion rock stuff.
Good.
So yeah, it's a long list.
I know you were featured in Fingerstyle Guitar Journal magazine with Bill Pyburn and his wonderful work out there a few months back. And what a great work that he does with all that.
Bill is just a great the service that he does for the guitar community, not only locally but in the entire country.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Every year he brings great interviews, great arrangements, great musicians that sometimes some people might not be aware.
Yeah.
So I highly recommend people to check out Fingerstyle Journal.
Yep.
Bill Pyburn. I had an interview with him, and it was so enjoyable. You know, just talked for like 2 hours. It was great.
Yeah.
And then I published one of my arrangements, My Favorite Things, which was interesting because we were at an event one day, and I had a few people playing, you know, and they asked me to play, and then I just tried to remember this old arrangement I had of My Favorite Things, and he enjoyed it. And out of that idea, you know, the collaboration with the magazine. So then it was not written out, so it was great because then I had to sit down and I had some pretty intricate things that I was kind of improvised. I was like, okay, I'm gonna need to sit down and come up with, you know, write it. And I wrote it. I worked with him, and it was released on I think last month.
Yeah.
With him a few months back, I guess.
Yeah.
And it's there. It's available. So My Favorite Things, and I love that tune.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for stopping by. We've got time for one more song. If they want to learn more about you, Paulo, you've got a YouTube channel?
Instagram, YouTube channel, yes. I can paulooliveira.music. That's my YouTube channel. And on Instagram, Instagram is the easiest way. That's where I have most of my updated things. I post some videos there, and so yeah, I'll be happy to connect with anybody that's interested in that type of music. Yeah. All things guitar, nylon string, steel and electric. You know, I love anything related to guitar.
You're so versatile with all of that. We've had you on the show various times playing various things. We've done jazz things with you. So it is. You're such a remarkable player. What are you going to close us out with?
Since we mentioned My Favorite Things, I think that would be a great one to finish up. And I want to thank you one more time for having me. This is so enjoyable. It's it's just a great space. Thank you for everything you do for the guitar community. I hope you guys at home, I know you guys appreciate everything that Steve does, because he does that in a way that, with such a great heart and heart of a teacher, and sharing his music. And Steve is a blessing for our community here in Nashville, and I'm so glad that people outside Nashville also get to work with you and learn from you. So thank you for everything you do.
Well, and thank you for everything that you do. You're such a big part of the educational community here as well. So
excellent. I'm going to play My Favorite Things, and now I need to change
get
my
back into regular tuning.
Yep.
While he is tuning up, Daniello says, break a leg in Europe, my friend.
Danilo is a good dear friend of mine. We went to middle school together.
Really?
In Brazil. And now he lives in Canada, and we are kind of close now, which is, and we lost touch for like 20 years. And then we connected again, casually, because we were both on vacation in Brazil. It was a very interesting, so he was a friend from like 30 years ago. So,
well, welcome.
Danilo, thanks for joining, Danilo.
Wonderful.
Thank you,
Paul.
Steve. Thank you
What
for
a joy
having me.
having you here. Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you guys for joining us as well. Keep up the great work in your guitar learning, and we will see you guys next time.
Thank you so much. Have a good night.